decide who's running this, and we have to decide quickly.
If it's terrorism, it's yours, right?
Gentlemen, the moment we label this terrorism, everything changes. It's not about Boston anymore. It's not a local investigation. It's Wolf Blitzer, it's stock markets, it's politicians. Knee-jerk reactions, anti-Muslim backlash. And what if we're wrong? I mean, there's no take back. I've been through this before.
That was a look at Patriots Day. Director Peter Berg and actor Mark Wahlberg recreate the 2013 Boston Marathon terrorist attack and the expansive manhunt to find the second suspect. For his take on this and other movies this week, we're joined by film critic Richard Crouse. Good morning, Richard.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Some people may think it's too soon to make a movie.
Well,
this
was literally just on the news.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday. It
remember
was
that night.
about 3.5 years ago. It happened on April 15th, 2013. A lot of these ripped from the headline movies have that problem. People either feel that they already know the story or it's too soon or whatever. I will tell you that the bombing, the sequence here where the bombs go off at the finish line of the Boston Marathon is a you are there moment.
Really?
Peter Berg has taken hundreds of bits of film, some that he shot, some that was taken from the actual day, from news footage, and chopped them all up. And there literally must be hundreds. Some of them are only 4 or 5 seconds long, but it really captures the mayhem and the chaos and the what the heck is going on kind of feel that it must have had on the street that day. It's a beautifully done sequence that really shows you the horror of what happened when these bombs went off. Later in the film, there are a couple of action sequences that are very real. They're tense, they're taut, but they're not glamorized. They feel, I've never been in a gunfight, but I feel like I have after seeing some of the action here. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because even though you know how the story ends, essentially, even though you know all the details, it's a really well done portrait of it.
All right, so we gave Patriots Day 4 stars. The next movie is Patterson.
My favorite movie this week by a landslide. This is Adam Driver. Know him as Kylo Ren in Star Wars. And he plays a man named Patterson who lives in Patterson, New Jersey. He's a bus driver who likes to write poetry. And you see some of his poetry come to life on the screen. They visualize it for you. And it sounds really kind of twee and a little bit kind of silly, especially coupled with the fact that really nothing happens in the movie. There's no conflict, unlike Patriots Day. There's no conflict, there's no action, there's really nothing. It's just a portrait of a man and a woman who love one another. They have a dog, he likes to write poetry, and he searches and finds the beauty in everyday life. And that's what I loved about this movie. It is the story of how every page for a writer or for anyone is a possibility. It is a beautiful, uplifting, wonderful movie that I think people need this kind of thing right now.
I would completely agree with that. So we give that
4 out
one
of 5.
4 stars. The next movie is Women.
20th Century Women.
Yes.
This is Annette Bening, who, for my money, is
the best actress
around. You know, like if you look at Meryl Streep, she gets all the accolades, and deservedly so. She's great. Annette Bening knocks it out of the park time after time after time, and does so again here. She plays a woman who runs a boarding home. Her teenage son lives with them. It's the end of the 70s, and she feels a little bit out of time. She was a child of the Depression. She doesn't understand the changing world around her, so she enlists the help of 2 people that live at the boarding home to try and, you know, raise the son and show him things. And they do to varying degrees of success. It's funny, it's smart, it is based on the real life story of the director Mike Mills, and it's got a really beautiful personal feel. And just go see Annette Bening in anything she's in. And Greta Gerwig, who is another one of my favorites. Greta Gerwig, who plays one of the rooming house tenants, is someone who makes everything that she does on screen, she makes it seem like it's the first time she's ever done it. It's a gift, she is natural, and she's beautifully great in this movie.
Okay, another
4
4.
stars,
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm doling them out like candy
Wow.
today.
Okay, finally Live by Night. We've got a few seconds
This
left.
is Ben Affleck starring in and directing an adaptation of a Dennis Lehane novel. He plays a small-time hood turned big-time bootlegger in the 1930s. And, you know, this movie looks great. The period details are amazing. There are some really interesting kind of story elements to it. But for me, it didn't quite all cling together in the way that I wanted it to. But, you know, the idea of it is solid, and I love kind of how he's a conflicted gangster. He's sort of like Tony Soprano in a lot of ways. He's got some problems with the things that he's doing, and he tries to work them out in any way that he can. So it's 3.5 stars for me. It's not up to the level of the other films this week, but it's pretty good stuff.
All right, Richard, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.